You guys ever heard the term all money ain't good money? Well, today is February the 2nd, and I've officially been in the business, actually moving, doing deliveries about 2 months. Well, not about 2 months, 2 months. Excuse me. And I'm signed on with 2 courier companies. And then I'm also doing gig apps. I'm doing a couple apps. Well, I'm doing Uber Eats. I don't like to do Uber rideshare. So Uber Eats, and I'm also doing some roadies. It's just like the single pickups. I'm not necessarily doing the routes anymore because they just don't pay anything. I think that roadie is really getting over, and they're really preying on people needing monies, which pretty much all these companies are. But you got to do what works for you. So after being signed on with one of these companies, I was offered not necessarily a dedicated route, but to be a dedicated driver for some hospitals. So I did it for a week, and let's see, I started on a Wednesday. I talked to him on a Tuesday. He asked me would I be interested in doing it, and I was asking what did it entail. And so he told me you will be pretty much the designated driver between all the hospitals. There's a lot of hospitals here in Atlanta. So to a particular division of the hospitals. So I said, yeah, I'll try. I said, what does it consist of? He said, pretty much between 7 to 2 or 3. And so I asked him what the rate was, and he told me what the rate was, or pretty much about what the guy that was doing it before me made. And he told me that the guy had another opportunity. That's what he told me, a better opportunity. So I said, okay, I'll try it. And then I asked him, am I obligated to keep doing this? And he said, no, you're not obligated. If you feel like, after a week or two that you feel like it's not worth it, then you don't have to do it. I said, cool. I did it. I started on a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I was mad busy. I started at 7. I wasn't finishing till like 5 or 6. Like Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm sorry. I started Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then I did it all last week. And man, when I tell you, like, no breaks, like all day, I was running. So when I got my settlement from the 3 days, I looked at the 3 days, and a lot of these you don't know what the settlement is until the end of the week. So I looked at it and I saw, there were regulars, there were a couple stats, 1 or 2 rushes, and if you know this, there's different levels of the deliveries. So I looked at it, and then I saw like the amount of miles and the gas that I burned on those days, and I was like, hey, I don't know about this. So I worked it all the full week, and mind you, I was on board from 7 to 5, 6, like to a couple of those nights like 7 o'clock, which I was mad busy, no breaks. I mean, you constantly running. But as I thought about it this past weekend, and I started doing the math, I started, doing some receipts and some miles and stuff like that, and kind of trying to gauge it on what that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday was. I was thinking to myself, this doesn't add up. I should be a W-2 driver if I'm going to keep doing this. So I talked to him. I thought that maybe I should pretty much just be a W-2 driver if I'm going to be doing this. If I'm going to be locked into this all day, every day. And I literally didn't do my other courier company like the whole week because I was just so locked into this. Again, when you're doing all the hospitals, they have like consistent stuff that you constantly doing or whatever. But not doing that, you can get lows, or if I got something, I can say, hey, I can't take this one right now because I got something else. But being a dedicated person, you pretty much have to do that. Okay, So by me doing that, I was thinking about it. I said, you know what, this would be okay if they would give some type of incentive, like maybe, like say like 150, like maybe $150 per day plus what you're doing. That will make it worth it, because you will typically get, between, I'll say, $250 to $400, depending on what's going on. But just running all day, say you do it all regular, say I was to do all regular deliveries or whatever, and I mean, being in the car, you get 50%, of the selling. So in doing that, I called them yesterday morning, and I said, hey, I feel like this route should, I told them, hey, I think I'm gonna have to bow out of this, unless the company can come up with an incentive, or like a base rate for this route, like $150 or so. So he said, well, I'll talk to them, and see what they talk about, because they were actually talking about that. I said, okay, cool. So this was like 9 o'clock in the morning. Well, about 8:30 in the morning. So I waited till about 3, and I called back, and I asked them, did you guys talk about, and he's like, well, it's probably gonna, they really didn't say anything. It's probably gonna be Friday. It's probably gonna be Friday or so before I hear anything. I said, well, I'll tell you what, let's do this. I said, take me off of this. Once they figure it out, which I can't say that they will put me back on it, but I know I was killing it. I mean, they had no issues. I think there was like, out of a ton of deliveries, there was like 2 hiccups that weren't my fault. But I was running, and mind you, I had like 2 or 3 deliveries in my queue, pretty much at all times, all day, every day. So I told them, hey, like I said, unless they can come up with some additional monies, because the route wouldn't be good, because you pretty much know what you're doing if you had a base pay. So I'm thinking, if I had, $600 or $700, plus what this is doing, on this route, then this could potentially be a good thing. But so he was like, well, we don't know. It may not be till Friday. So I said, well, take me off of it. I'm just not gonna do it. So because my thing is, I can make more money doing both of the carrier businesses and doing other stuff with less time, and I wouldn't be so stretched out. So that being said, all money ain't good money. Sometimes, and this is the other thing, if you're out here running and you don't know what your cost per day is, as far as what it
in half a mile, turn left onto Findlay Road.
What it takes for you to run your business, if you're not calculating your miles and keeping up with your stuff, then you're cheating yourself. So you got to know what you're putting into it versus what you're getting out of it. And if it don't add up, if the math ain't mathing, then you need to respectfully bow out. So that's my rant for today. You gotta make it make sense for yourself. Don't just be doing it. I'm busy.
Turn left onto Findlay Road.
Is this Findlay Road? Don't just feel like, because you're busy or you're doing things that you're making good money, because that's not always the case. Because if you're putting more time and more money into versus what you're making out of it, then that's really not profitable for you guys. So that was just my lesson learned. After I made that decision with him, I didn't feel any kind of way. So I don't know, which, with this company, I also told them I was interested in the routes. Just running, per call or whatever, versus having a route. Routes are the key. I'm seeing that routes are the key. You need a route so you can have like a guaranteed, and then And don't get me wrong, I'm still new to this, so I'm still trying to figure it out. So I'm still trying to lock in. I'm still trying to lock in what my I'm still trying to lock in some contracts. But that's the other thing. Doing that all day, I had no breaks. I couldn't do anything. I mean, literally nothing, because I was just running. So I had to figure that out. So that's it for this video. Hey, if you've been watching, I appreciate you. If you watched to this point, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the follow button. I'm going to be sharing more. I'm sharing my journey because I'm trying to build this. This is not a tutorial page. I'm just trying to share my journey because I want other people to know that if I can do it, you can do it too. My name is Tim. Thanks a lot for watching The Wealth Chronicles.